Greetings dear students, I am here with the new poem To the Skylark, which is written by William Wordsworth. Here is the text of the poem. To the Skylark, the poet says, ethereal minstrel, pilgrim of the sky, dost thou despise the earth where cares abound, or while the wings aspire our heart and eye, both with thy nest upon the dewy ground. The nest which thou canst drop into at will, those quavering wings composed that music still. First of all, I am going to discuss the difficult word used in this stanza. Ethereal means heavenly, minstrel, लोकायक folk song singer or गवैया, pilgrim of the sky, आकाश के तीर्थयात्री. Dust is the second form of dew. It is archaic of second form of do, does. Thou means you. Despise means hate. Abound means present in very good amount, प्रचुर मात्रा में. Aspire means ambitious, आकांक्षा से भरा हुआ. The next word is thy means you. It is the archaic word for you. Thou means your. Quavering means shaking, कंपन करना. The difficult word in second stanza. Mount means rise करना, चढ़ना. Soar करना, soar, S-O-A-R, soar. The next word is warbler means गवैया. Love prompted, प्यार से उत्साहित. Strain means धुन. The next word is betwixt. Here B and E is not used. It is ellipsis here, and it is also an archaic word. It means between. D means you. Thine means you. The next word which is difficult, I think, is whence. Whence means कहाँ से या जब से. The next word is kindred, to the kindred points of heaven. So the word used here, kindred means which is a familiar point, which belongs to family. So it is the difficult words. Now coming to the summary of the poem. I request you all to please keep the text with you, because whenever I will give reference, you can easily understand what lines or what lines of the text I am speaking about. The summary of the poem. William Wordsworth described in this beautiful poem about Skylark. He puts a series of questions. He asks Skylark, does he hate the ground? Because poet always finds a bird flying up in the sky. So he asks, does his mind and eye still engrossed in the thought of home? The poet goes on to praise the bird for the sweet melody it produces, though he cannot drop into his home freely at will. Now, poet says the skylark has been a daring bird for the height at which it flies. He has a strong bonding with the home. The song he sings spread throughout the plain and fills it with divine rapture of the timeless melody it produces. The speaker requests the skylark to leave the dark forest to the nightingale, as he has a glorious light to himself. The bird is wise because he still remains connected to the roots, the nest, and remains true to both the sky and earth. So now taking to the speaker of the poem in the first stanza, the poet himself or the speaker asks questions to the skylark by calling him an ethereal minstrel, a divine singer, and the pilgrim of the sky, a traveler of the sky. He says on earth care thrives. Care here can be taken as something positive, but going by the tone seems to be more of a suffering and unhappiness. Then the poet further goes on to ask the bird, does still his heart and eye in his home on the dewy ground? Even though his wings are keen to fly, it is ambitious. He asks this because he always sees the bird high up in the sky, singing and wandering. Although he has a nest which he cannot drop into at will, but that music, the divine melody, is constantly composed by his quivering wings. And in spite of it, the poet praises the song. The meaning of the last sentence could be found in the behavior of the skylark, and this forms the reason for the poet's calling the bird he. Skylark is a songbird and perching bird as well. But unlike the other perching bird, the skylark, as it has in its name, can sing only when it's in the flight, flying high up in the sky. So he cannot enter his home freely. Means that if the skylark desires to sing, then he cannot be at home. Now the poet ventures to describe the flight of the ethereal minstrel. Its flight is to the last point of vision and beyond. Means that it cannot be seen, and the poet calls it daring for the heights it's mount to. Betwixt thee and thine a never failing bond means that the bonds between the skylark and its home is very strong and unbreakable, and this love for his home makes the song equally pleasant when on ground as well as in the sky. Although he flies too high on air, it never forgets the home, and so the poet calls here mightiest and proud privilege, because he sings independent of the leafy spring, as nightingale can only sing in the spring. In the last stanza, Wordsworth asks the skylark to leave the nightingale to the shady wood. Nightingale, which is a songbird, sings in forest, unlike the skylark, which sings in the sky. And the poet says that the skylark possesses the privacy of glorious light, which is a little contradictory, as how could be the open sky provide privacy to the lark? But this is not about whether someone sees or not, but because of the height where it sings. The speaker then says that the lark fills the world with flood of harmony. Again you can see antithesis in these two words, because harmony means balance and flood is not balanced. The bird has a great instinct, as it is a bird that soars but never roams, by which the poet means that however high the lark flies, he would return to his home, and this makes him wise, depicting that he is true to his roots, his lovely nest. Last, the skylark is true to the kindred point of heaven and home, meaning that the skylark is closely related to both heaven and home, that is the sky and the ground. Now you can see that in the skylark, this poem depicts skylark's behavior and a passionate appraisal of the creation of Mother Nature and Almighty. The flood of harmony that the skylark showers onto the ground below from its privacy of the glorious light gives it an effect as if God is showering his blessing on the earth. The skylark's bond with the home on the day ground and its tendency to soar high up in the sky is what the poem seems about when first looked at, but one can always take away something from poetry. Here in this poem, readers can take away the wisdom of staying true to their roots, their home, even when that reach high up in the sky. With the arrival of success, if we forget the origin or the roots to which we belong, then we will never be able to carry on and reach up to the higher levels. What we have to contribute, it must go two ways. One towards the elevated position to raise it to further heights, while other to the home. Only then we can be truly wise. This is the central idea, to always maintain a strong, never failing bond with home, even when we are far away. Incorporating these values in life, as Wordsworth expects us, help us achieve a better position in life. Another idea which lies here is that of giving an ode to a skylark for certain unique qualities. So here I have put the picture of skylark, and I have put 2 points here. First point is, the poet says that it sings the song from its instinct, but in instinct there is more divine inspiration. At last the poet comes to the conclusion that the bird is a type of wise man. As a wise man does not forget his duty to God, though the lives of this mortal earth full of sorrow and sufferance, so is the bird thought it lives on earth, it does not forget its devotion to God, for which it soars up to the heaven. The next theme and attitude which has shown towards Skylark is a being of nature, is a romantic one, as the poet sees and feels joy, beauty and mystery, not in human society but in nature and in natural objects. The poem is mystic as the poet looks at the bird with a mystic outlook and sees the spirit of God in it. Now the rhyme pattern is very clear: A B A B C C. In every stanzas, there are 3 stanzas and each stanza has 6 lines. Imagery of the poem is quite interesting. It has all the landscape, skyscape, and now the poet described the nest of the bird also. You can find personification also in this poem when the poet says that thrills the bosom of the plain. So bosom of a plain, it is a clear personification. In oxymoron, you can see privacy of glorious light or the flood of harmony. So these are the some poetic devices used in this poem. Thank you for watching.